I recently did a video about my journey into discovering Greek metal bands, and I got a pretty positive response from the video. I received tons of comments, people recommending other bands from Greece, so I thought it would be a good idea to do a follow-up video. I chose 11 bands this time. It would have been difficult to cover every band that was recommended, but I chose a nice sample that covers a wide variety of different genres. So with that being said, let me jump right into the list. First band I have is Doomocracy. This is an epic doom metal band. They've been active since 2011. They have 3 albums. I listened to the most recent one from 2022 called Unorthodox. The album has 11 songs and it is 47 minutes long. This band likes to write both short and medium length songs. So for example, there are a bunch of songs that are 2 minutes and under, and a lot of songs that are in the 4 to 6 minute range. The album appears to be a concept album, although I'm not sure. The songs seem to be about death and the afterlife, and I'm not sure if this is a Christian band, but it appears that there are some of those themes throughout this album. As for the music, the album has an overall epic doom sound, but there was also a progressive rock edge to the sound as well. There were Middle Eastern sounds, wind instruments that accompanied the heavy guitars. There were songs that have some epic chanting style vocals. I mentioned a few shorter tracks and they serve to be more like the intro tracks to the next songs. For example, they have these haunting pianos or spoken word sections. But the album still has lots of guitar. Many songs have the twin guitar attack with both the lead guitar and the rhythm guitar. And I like the drumming. There are both traditional drum beats as well as different forms of those tribal drum beats. And the band also uses keyboards sparingly in a few songs. Overall, I like it a lot. I was expecting more of a Candlemass type of band, but I think this band has some uniqueness about them, so I'm interested in exploring it some more. The next band I have is called Aetherian, and they are a melodic death metal band. They're from Athens, and they've been active since 2013. They've only released 2 albums, so I listened to their latest release, At Storm's Edge. This was released in 2023, but it fell under my radar. The lyrics mention a lot of Greek mythology. There were a lot of things I didn't recognize, so I had to Google the names. The music was mostly epic in nature. It had that type of sound, makes you think of warriors going into battle. In general, I thought the music was very heavy. There were deep guttural vocals, fast rhythms, but there were also lots of melody. I actually thought they were similar to Rotting Christ, even though they are considered to be a different genre. The songs had moments where there were lots of tremolo picking and blast beats, but as a band, I would say they're also similar to a band like Insomnia. There were songs that had some softer parts with clean guitars, but most of it was heavy with lots of layers of sound. There's one song here called Advent Dreams, which had more of a metalcore sound in my opinion, so they have a little variation in the songs. I thought it was a pretty cool band. I felt that it was like melodic death metal, but with a slight black metal edge. So another band I thought was pretty cool. The next band I have is called Bannerwar. They're from Athens, and they've been active since the year 2000. I listened to their most recent album, Warlords of Blood and Steel, from 2023. They're listed as a black metal band. It sounds like black metal, but they don't sound like the Greek black metal band, and by that I mean like Rotting Christ or other similar bands. They sound like a typical Norwegian black metal band. I read some of the lyrics on the Metal Archives page, and the lyrics are about war and history and things like that. So not the type of lyrics you would find with a typical black metal band. The first song is a 3-minute instrumental called Opus Europa. It sounded like a typical power metal instrumental, but then when they play the next song, it sounds like some old school black metal. It was fast and aggressive. The vocals are mixed very low. Pretty much the rest of the album sounded like this. Now, not the type of music I listen to often, but I didn't mind it. I probably prefer to listen to black metal bands that go more outside of the box, but I understand some people like this old school sound. So for me, it was similar to bands like early Dark Throne or Mayhem or those similar bands. So that's really all I have to say with this. The next band I have is called Paladine. They're a power metal band. This band is also from Athens. They've been active since 2013. They have 2 albums, and I listened to the most recent album called Entering the Abyss. This album is about 54 minutes long. There's 1 instrumental at the end of and the rest of the songs are pretty much about in the 5 to 7 minute range. I like this band a lot. It didn't sound like a typical power metal band. I mean, on the one hand, the lyrics are all fantasy-based. The music seems to go in different directions. The first song is only a minute long. It includes a spoken word part and sounds like dragons in the background. But then when you listen to the first actual song, which is called War of the Lance, it was different because I think they played a little slower than power metal bands usually do, and I felt a lot of the guitar work was close to both traditional heavy metal and even a little bit of thrash. They also have these big and epic keyboards that create these different soundscapes. The music is also a little progressive at times. They like to change up the rhythms and tempos. I thought the vocals were very similar to power metal. They had big and powerful soaring vocals, but the songs are all different. Some songs have lots of guitar riffs. Other songs are more epic and melodic in nature. Other songs are softer, more atmospheric, have darker tones. Probably my favorite band out of the first few that I just spoke about. Not my favorite, actually my favorite's going to be later, but out of the first few. And one of the best power metal albums I've actually heard in a while. So definitely on my radar. I'm going to be checking them out a lot more. The band I have is called The Temple. They're from Thessaloniki, Central Macedonia. Someone just made a comment in my last video saying that I mispronounced the second largest city in Greece, which is called Thessaloniki. So I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. So I went to Google and I'm going to learn how to pronounce it. So let's see right now. Okay, I'm on the page and they have it pronounced. So first I'm going to listen to it.
Thessaloniki.
Okay, let me try. Thessaloniki. All right, now there's a little thing where it says you can practice, so I'm going to push this button here. Thessaloniki. Let's see how I do. All right, good job. Okay, back to the video. They are a doom metal band, but the type of doom metal that has a lot of that chanting, I guess that's how I would describe it. The album is called Of Solitude Triumphant. It has 7 songs. Most songs are in the 7 to 9 minute range. The type of doom metal that's very slow, it's very heavy and melodic. They sprinkle in a little bit of that tremolo picked guitar riffs, and it kind of makes it sound a little bit like black metal. Like I said before, the vocals are those chanting style vocals. It's not too bad. I'm usually not the biggest fan of doom metal, but especially when it has like slow tempos, but I think it's a type of band or album. It's good to listen to when you're alone by yourself, laying in your bed, listening with headphones, and you need to go to a different place. But otherwise, if you like the style of music, I recommend the band. Next is Agnes. They are an epic black and doom metal band. They're from Thessaloniki, Central Macedonia. They've been active since 2011. I listened to the third album called Death Call. Sounds like the way they describe themselves. There were elements of both black metal and doom. It wasn't all slow, it wasn't all fast, and there were different tempos that was progressive at times. Vocals, they sounded like black metal at times. Other times they sounded like epic doom, maybe similar to vocals of a band like Candlemass. There were big guitar riffs. There were also those more atmospheric black metal style guitar riffs. The album has 6 songs. They're all in the 5 to 10 minute range. There are moments when it sounded like cosmic psychedelic music, especially in the middle part of the song Sovereign Star. I like that part of it. The band's pretty good. I think the albums might need repeat listens to be able to take everything in, but still good. The next band I have is called Human Serpent. This is a black metal band that started in 2012. They split up in 2021. I listened to their last album called Heirlooms Eternal. Now, at first it sounded like some straightforward black metal with screams and blast beats, but as I listened, I noticed they added in these little intricacies into the songs. So, for example, some of the songs had elements of groove metal. Some guitar riffs were a little chunkier than you would expect to hear with a black metal band. So I like the fact that they went out of their way to add in these little things that distinguish themselves from the countless other black metal bands out there. There was only one instance where they slowed down and played a classical interlude, but as for the rest of the album, it was black metal with a slightly better production level and some unique touches added to the music, so I thought it was pretty cool. Next I have Achelous. They are an epic heavy and power metal band from Athens. They've been active since 2011. I listened to their most recent album called Tower of High Sorcery. It was released in March 22nd, 2024. It was a fairly recent album. The album had one intro track, kind of sounded like some folk metal with a soft acoustic intro. The other songs had a lot of melody. Typical power metal elements were there with fast drum beats and fantasy-inspired lyrics. The vocals were very big and epic, and there were lots of those galloping guitar rhythms. They also experiment a little, as some of the guitar riffs were heavier and sounded more like traditional heavy metal. And there were lots of those Middle Eastern and Egyptian sounding melodies. Some of the songs had acoustic parts that gave it a folk metal quality. Other times it sounded like modern Iron Maiden with the long instrumental sections. Other sections sounded more like classical music. Overall, not too bad for a power metal band. I think if you're a fan of power metal, you could get into this. The next band I have is called Need. They are a progressive metal band from Athens, and they've been active since 2003. This was one of the bands that a lot of people recommended, and I listened to their last album called Norchestrion, A Song for the End. I'm not sure if it's part of a trilogy, as the previous two albums have similar titles, but it is a progressive metal band. I'd say a little bit similar to Dream Theater, but more similar to bands like Haken, Evergrey, or Soen. The album has 9 songs. Most songs are in the 5 to 7 minute range, with one epic being close to 19 minutes. They have lots of guitar riffs, a little bit of keyboards. I would say it's more of a guitar-oriented band. Some songs have a jazz influence. Other songs have a little heavier stuff. Some more bordering on death metal. The instrumentation is very complex. There's some strange stuff. There's one song in the middle where it's a 3-minute dialogue between two people. Sounded like a sound clip from a movie. Otherwise, that song was cool. Type of album, I need to listen to more, but I think it's a type of music that if you like progressive metal, I think they should be held in the same regard as the big progressive metal bands that we all know. Next, I have Dead Congregation. This is a death metal band from Athens. This is one of the names that came up a lot in the comments, and I also noticed there was not a lot of death metal coming out of Greece, or at least not recommended to me in the comments. This might actually be the first death metal band I'm reviewing, but I listened to the second full-length album called Promulgation of the Fall from 2014. I thought it was pretty good. Typical death metal you would expect. There are lots of fast-paced guitar riffs, blast beats, or deep guttural vocals similar to a band like Morbid Angel. There are times they get a little atmospheric and melodic. The album pretty much maintains a similar sound consistently throughout the songs. Out of all the songs, there was one song that was 7 minutes long, and the rest were about 3 to 5 minutes. I don't have much else to say about it, but some solid death metal. If you're into that, definitely check it out. I have one more band. It is Khirki. They're listed as heavy / stoner metal / rock. And that's one of the broadest genres I've ever seen listed in the Metal Archives website. And rightfully so. The band is very diverse. They're from Athens, and I listened to the most recent album, which I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. So I'm going to put it up on the screen up here. So I really don't know where to begin with this band. They have a little bit of everything. Sometimes they sound like thrash metal. Other times they get a little funky. There was one song had some big Black Sabbath style guitar riffs. Other songs are closer to psychedelic rock. And I thought that was pretty cool. Then there were some songs that had some groove metal and some doom metal. And I'm just scratching the surface with this explanation that I would have to do a full review. It was also a 2024 album, so if I had known about it, I probably would have made one of my end of the year lists. So it was my favorite out of all the albums, out of all the ones I talked about today. So that's all. It's a small sample of what was recommended to me. I had many more recommendations in the comments. I couldn't get to all of them. I might even do a part 3, but maybe later on. In the meantime, I will post the first Greek metal episode right there. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Thanks for watching. Give the video a like. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.